Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today we are going to talk about why the secret is wrong. All right, so of course, this is the latest episode of Real Talk for Lightworkers. I forgot to mention that, so that's that. That'll be in the title, doesn't matter. This is, yes, a clickbaity title, and of course, okay, we need to understand that everything out there contains seeds of truth. And this is why we can't say, like, the secret is absolutely wrong and just, like, brush it aside. Or the law of attraction is absolutely wrong and let's just get rid of it. Because that's not true. Life is not so black and white. It contains a lot of paradox. And so the reason that I want to make this video today is because I feel like the real core of it is, like, especially with The Secret and with the law of attraction, the way it's being taught is that it's trying to get rid of the paradox of reality, right? It's really trying, like most other spiritual teachings, right, to take a concept that is a truth, and we need to understand that any truth that is an actual truth is always going to contain paradox. It's going to contain both poles of the reality, and it's going to be able to understand how these two poles work together. However, when we're in a fear-based state of consciousness, when we're in a lower state of consciousness, which is where most people are at, we can't understand that. We can't understand paradox. We can't put two poles together and see how they simultaneously exist, where we want to believe that it's black and white, one or the other, this side or that side. And so with our spiritual teachings, we're doing the same thing. We're taking concepts that are very high-minded and require very complex understanding of the universe and how things unfold, and we're dumbing it down by getting rid of half of it so that it's not paradoxical. And in the process of doing that, we degrade the teaching. So this is how we find teachings that are half-true, half-baked, sort of work sometimes, and we get tricked into thinking that this must be the whole truth because it sort of kind of worked sometimes. And then in the times when it didn't, it must have just been my fault. I wasn't practicing it right. I wasn't doing it right. I wasn't thinking right. And we'll get into that with the secret example. However, that's not really what's going on. The reason that a spiritual teaching doesn't work all the time is generally because it's only giving you half the truth. You see? And then because we are in such a disempowered place, because we are generally speaking a very disempowered people, we don't assume, oh, the teaching must be wrong. We assume I'm wrong, right? Just like we do with dieting, just like we do with anything. When we hear a teaching and we go to practice it and then it doesn't work, we assume it was our fault rather than assuming maybe there's something wrong with the teaching. All right? So when we look at the teaching of The Secret, especially the way that it's taught in the more very materialistic way, it's essentially saying to you that your thoughts are controlling your reality. And so if you have negative thoughts, if you imagine negative things, you're going to attract these things to you yourself, because in thinking those negative things, you're creating them. And then, so if you want to create a positive experience for yourself, if you want to get what you want, if you want to manifest your $1 million, you want to get your house, you want to get your dream job, you have to be positively focused all the time. Make sure you never think those negative thoughts. And that's how you're going to get it done, right? Because you're creating your reality with your thoughts. So, okay, that's that teaching. Now, most of the time, you're going to realize that as much as you try, as much as you're disciplined, as much as you're doing everything you possibly can to focus positively, you cannot control all of your thoughts. That there are always going to be thoughts that arise that are negative, that are fear-based, that are, what if this happens? What if that happens? I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want this. I don't want that. And what you're going to notice is that what your brain usually does, where your brain usually is at, is that it's ping-ponging between these two poles, right? You're sometimes thinking really positively, and then you're sometimes thinking really negatively. And one leads to the other and the other leads to the other, and you're just constantly bouncing back and forth between these two poles, right? And so then when you're thinking positive, you're like, good, yes, I'm manifesting. And then you might actually manifest some stuff. You might, when you're in a really positive mental state for a period of time, notice good things are happening in your life and things are going great. And then you fall back into this negative thinking and realize, look, bad things are happening. I'm having a terrible experience. See, it's true. Now, if I could just control these negative thoughts, all this negative stuff would stop happening and all this positive stuff would be how it is. Okay, so we have that. And then some people take it a little further and they say, well, it's not so much just your thoughts. It's not just like think about flying in an airplane and then the airplane goes down. Like we kind of evolve it a little bit. We're seeing, okay, it's not just the thoughts, but the feeling. It's the feeling state that's creating my reality. It's how I'm feeling about things. So if I'm projecting positive feelings out into the universe, that's telling the universe that I'm in this positive place, and then it's only going to bring me back positive experiences. And if I'm projecting negative feelings out into the universe, it's only going to bring me back negative experiences. So now it's all about my feelings. So it's my thoughts and my feelings. I got to control how I'm thinking. I got to control my positive focus and my positive feeling. Yeah? And then we start doing that and noticing, wow, okay, I have all these negative emotions. I try to envision my positive future and it actually causes a negative feeling inside. Or I'm in my happy bubble, imagining my positive future in my loving place, and then someone does something and then I have this huge negative reaction and I can't control it. And again, we start thinking like, shit, right? I can't control my feelings. I can't control my thoughts. And so now, what does that mean? Does that mean I'm just stuck having horrible experiences for the rest of my life? Maybe never being able to get what I want because I can't just control my thoughts and control my feelings? And there's something wrong with me that I can't just be positive and feel good all the time? And this is where we see like this is a big mess because it's negating too much of the truth. So in an attempt to make it simple, we made it way more complicated because taking out the paradoxical parts of it actually dumb it down to the point where you could never understand it. So let's go deeper, all right? I know that you're ready for this. I know that you can handle this. If you're someone who's on a path where you're saying, I want to wake up, I want to evolve, I want to become fully who I am, you're gonna have to get used to paradox. You're gonna have to get used to it being both. The answer is yes. Is it this or that? Yes. And this is something that I know that humans struggle with. And so again, I don't think those people that are selling The Secret are intentionally trying to hurt people. I don't think people who preach the law of attraction in this way, that it's your thoughts and your feelings and just be in a positive place and you'll get all the things that you want and none of the bad things that you don't want will happen to you, are trying to trick us or trick you. I really don't believe that. I think they believe it too. And they want to believe it. You see, because that's the first thing we got to understand. There's a huge desire for us who are in a fear-based consciousness to be told that there's a way we can avoid all the harsh things about life. So that's the first thing we need to understand. The reason this teaching is so attractive is because we have such an ingrained perception that there are bad things and wrong things and that things should happen and things shouldn't happen, and that material reality is a huge part of why I feel the way that I feel. And therefore, if this thing happens, I have to feel bad. If this thing happens, I have to feel good. If this thing doesn't happen, I have to feel bad. If this thing doesn't happen, I will feel good. So we want to hear someone tell us, you can completely control your material reality with your thoughts and your feelings, and therefore you'll never have to worry about feeling bad again, because it's the material reality that's causing all these things, and all you have to do is think and feel differently, and you won't have those things anymore. And that's why that teaching's attractive. So, but we need to go beyond that. We need to wise up. We need to grow up. That's a very minimalistic, childlike view of the world, which says, I don't want that, I want that, I can't be happy if this is happening, I can only be happy if that is happening. Now, so what we need to understand is that absolutely, Our thoughts have an effect on our reality. We are creators. So here's the parts of the secret that are absolutely true. We are creative. We are creators. We live in a reality that is semi-solid, semi-solid. Yes, it's not totally solid, but it's not solid. It's not an illusion. You see, there is stuff and there is a lot of space around the stuff. So we can think of our reality like Play-Doh. It has some structure, so it's not completely an illusion. You see, we need paradox here. Let's understand this. Reality is not completely an illusion. It doesn't exist at all. It's just nothing. No, there's form to it. There's structure to it. There's systems for how it works. And at the same time, it's quite plastic. It's quite malleable. There's a lot of room for creativity. And that is the whole point of incarnating. We came here to have a structured, creative experience. So if it was completely nothing, if there was no structure, we couldn't create anything. If there was no structure to it at all, if there was nothing to this reality, there would be nothing to create with. We couldn't make stuff because there would be nothing to make anything out of. You see what I'm saying? Now, but again, if it was totally, if there was no structure, we couldn't do anything with it. But if it was completely structured, we also couldn't do anything with it. If it was totally solid, we would have no room. We could not play. We could not make things different. So absolutely, it's structured and it's plastic at the same time. Paradox. That's the first thing you need to understand about reality. It's both, okay? The second thing is that there are many, the true intention of human life, and I'm going to just say this, okay? And I want you to go away and I want you to think about it, and you can totally disagree with me if you want to, but this is what I have come to in my own self. The true purpose of human life is, again, a paradox, all right? We are here to express as our individual self, as the individual fractal of God that we represent. We are here to fully and completely embody an ego, an aspect of the truth, an aspect of God, an aspect of reality, an aspect of all that is, and to fully express it, because that full expression, that full embodiment of an individual having an individual experience adds to overall consciousness. So that's where we say it is through being an individual that we are connected to all of it. It's not one or the other. It's not being an individual separates me from everything, or being in everything means that I can't be an individual. The only way to have a unified experience is to be an individual. So life is both. You are here to be an individual who completely is in your ego, expressing your ego. The ego is just that fractal of God that you represent. Understanding that that fractal of God is completely unified to the whole and is adding to the information of the whole. So as we go through our life experiences, as we grow, as we learn, as we have everything happen to us, and that as it teaches us about who we are and about the reality, because again, you'll notice, the more you learn about yourself, the more you understand yourself, the more you understand about ultimate reality, because you're intimately connected. There is no one without the other. There's no separation. There's no distance. It's the same. It's one. It's both. So your coming here is not a fear-based experience, right? When you fully understand that you didn't come here to just manifest material goods so that you could feel good, right? That's not the point of life. The point of life is to fully know yourself and then to live as that being. So when we understand that, if you can see that in order to understand the reality, you have to be yourself. In order to fully understand your connection with everything and unified and be unity, you gotta know you. In order to know you, you're gonna understand unity. You're gonna understand how all this plays together, because it's just one big cycle. The macro mirrors the micro mirrors the macro. You are a part of it. You are a hologram of it. You are a reflection of all of it. So let's back up a little, right? When we're desiring certain things and fearing certain things, I want this, I don't want that. I'm going towards this pleasurable experience and running from this painful one. What we first need to understand is generally that's coming from a place of really not understanding why reality happens the way that it does. We don't really know why we want what we want. You don't actually want the $1 million. You don't actually want the house. You don't actually want the relationship in the way that you think that you do. Usually what we're doing is we're saying, again, my happiness is based on this thing happening, but we don't know why. So what is it about having $1 million that's going to make you happy? What is it about having the relationship of your dreams that is going to make you happy? What is it about having the dream job that's going to make you happy? And so what I'm saying here is, again, we have to understand this paradox. And I'm going to make a whole other video on this, okay? But I just want you to start to think about this. That absolutely, you may be here to have the $1 million and to have the house and to have the car and to have the relationship. And that is actually truly and completely a part of your path. However, those things are representations of you stepping into who you are. Those things are just a part of the ultimate path of you understanding yourself. So when we think that the material reality is the thing that makes us feel good or the thing that makes us feel bad, we need to understand that's not really what's happening. The thing that makes us feel good is to know ourselves more. The thing that makes us feel bad is to deny ourselves. So when we're going through painful experiences, it's not actually painful because the experience itself. The painful experiences that we go through are the ones where we're telling ourselves this means something about myself or something about the reality that isn't true. When I have my friend die and I believe that shouldn't have happened, that's what hurts. So that's your mind creating your reality. You didn't create your friend dying by thinking a negative thought. Your friend was going to die. Everything in life is going to happen. There are so many things in your life that are just going to happen because they're there for your growth. They're there for your expansion. It is a part of your awakening path that you don't have conscious control over. There's a part of your life that's already set. That's the structure. And then there's the part of your life that's not already set. That's the Play-Doh. So we have experiences that are going to happen to us, and they are there for a reason, to wake us up to a reality, a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe that we don't have yet. So some of these negative experiences are exactly what we need in order to awaken to who we are. And us wanting to not have those experiences is an immature reaction to life. That's saying that bad things and wrong things can happen, and good things and right things can happen, and I know what they are. And so when reality takes place, I'm judging the reality as being wrong. That's the immature view. So like I said, I'm gonna make a whole video on why it's not that you need to be happy in whatever's happening. You are a specific person and you are going to have a specific life, and that is true. However, overall, we need to understand that painful experiences are very much a perceptual misunderstanding. It's when we judge something that as being something that shouldn't be happening, we cut ourselves off from the information that that situation is giving us, which would then help us come closer into alignment with who we are and come closer into alignment with the reality. So when we are in an experience and we are suffering, what that tells you is not that you had a negative thought and you need to switch your thoughts. It's not that you're having a negative feeling and you need to switch your feelings. It's showing you that your interpretation of reality, your thoughts, and how reality actually is are two different things. That's where pain comes from. The degree to which you suffer in your experience is the degree to which you are perceiving reality out of alignment with how reality actually is, because that disempowers you. When you don't understand how the reality is functioning, you cannot create within it, and therefore you are disempowered, and that is what makes you feel like shit. So it's not the circumstance, okay? You are learning what you're learning. You are going through what you're going through, not because you're thinking or feeling shitty things. The shitty thoughts are coming from a misunderstanding. So learn that. And then I'll come with the next video about why it's not just about the material reality, but why it is too, but just that. So like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And yeah, join Patreon, and I'll see you in the next video.